The film begins in the year 2063, after wars and pollution have devastated the Earth, leaving only two remaining states. Each state tries to dominate the other to control the world, while the limited resources barely suffice for one state. In the border zone between the two, there's a camp called Sentinel, where four soldiers reside: Cassidy, Sullivan, Baines, and their commander, Henrix. Although their service ended months ago, no aid has reached them, and their food and water supplies are running dangerously low. One stormy night, the soldiers use the opportunity to fish. Baines goes to secure the pipes, but they explode, trapping his arm. Meanwhile, Sullivan succeeds in catching fish, but the waves wash them away. The next day, the soldiers discuss their situation and decide to ration their food. Baines objects and blames Sullivan for failing to catch fish, causing a fight between them. Henrix intervenes and asks them to stop acting like teenagers. When Baines asks about the telegraph, Henrix explains that it's for reports, not for distress calls. Sullivan uses binoculars and spots a ship approaching. He checks the radar and thinks it's a rescue ship, but Henrix suspects it's pirates. Sullivan is sent to investigate and finds the ship abandoned with military suits inside, realizing it was indeed their rescue ship, but the crew died before reaching them. Henrix, who was about to blow up the ship, stops the detonation after Sullivan's final call. Sullivan returns and suggests using the ship to escape, but it needs repairs. He asks to inform the base, but Henrix refuses, claiming there's nothing new to report. Tension grows within the team due to Henrix's control. Henrix secretly writes down the ship's coordinates. Later, Sullivan talks to Cassidy about Earth's beautiful past and tells her he sent a distress message without the commander's knowledge. The next day, a message arrives via telegraph, but it's the same one Sullivan had sent, meaning it never reached the base and no help is coming. Later, Sullivan notices Baines frequently visiting the ship and discovers he's been studying how to repair it, planning to escape before the next storm. Sullivan shares the idea with Cassidy. She hesitates but agrees when she sees hope in his eyes. Baines and Sullivan start fixing the ship. When they finish, Henrix appears and orders them to dismantle some parts, threatening their plan. He pulls a gun when they refuse, but Cassidy intervenes, trying to calm him and reminding him of their lost comrades. Eventually, Henrix agrees to the plan on one condition. Cassidy stays with him at the camp until they return with help. Sullivan protests Cassidy staying behind, but she coldly tells him she doesn't love him and their relationship was just a fling, shocking him and causing him to back off. Before the mission begins, Henrix gives Sullivan a paper with important coordinates and warns him that the enemy might look like them and do anything for their people. Henrix still refuses the idea of mass escape. The next day, a new ship approaches. The team tries to communicate with it, but fails. Henrix orders it to be bombed, but it is unaffected and turns out to be the same abandoned ship. The team refuses to destroy it, making Henrix furious. He shoots Baines in the ear, threatening to kill him. Sullivan reluctantly destroys the ship, feeling guilty. Baines loses hope, but Cassidy hits Henrix on the head, and they lock him up, taking his detonator keys. Baines tries to kill Henrix but is stopped. He sits sadly, looking at his son's toys. Sullivan and Cassidy agree to send a group distress signal. She apologizes to Sullivan for hurting him, explaining she only wanted to protect him. Later, Sullivan talks to Henrix and asks about his actions. Henrix reveals that a rescue ship was supposed to arrive 3 months ago, but someone killed everyone on board to steal the explosives for their own state. He was trying to protect them from the traitor. Sullivan begins to doubt those around him. Cassidy later sits with him and shows him a photo of her family lost in the war. The next day, Baines argues with Cassidy, steals the detonator keys, and plans to blow up the camp. Sullivan chases and calms him down. Baines admits he tried to kill Henrix but found he had thrown himself into the sea. Sullivan checks Henrix's room and finds him missing, assuming he committed suicide. The next day, Baines takes Cassidy on a boat to explore the ocean, saying goodbye to Sullivan in an emotional hug. Later, Sullivan goes fishing, but when he pulls up the net, he finds Henrix's body with a fatal head wound, realizing he didn't kill himself. He was murdered, and Sullivan starts suspecting Cassidy. Sullivan checks Cassidy's file and discovers she's a spy from the rival state who killed the rescue team to steal the explosives for her state. He returns to the camp and pretends to know nothing. The next day, Sullivan disappears. Cassidy receives a radio message from him revealing he knows her truth and has activated the explosives to destroy the camp as punishment. Cassidy runs to the control room crying, explaining that she had no choice but to save her people and that she truly loves Sullivan. He doesn't believe her and prepares to detonate, only to find the explosives don't work. He discovers that Baines, before dying, reprogrammed them to be unactivatable, fearing someone might blow themselves up in a moment of weakness. Sullivan sits with Cassidy, finally listening to her, now that they're trapped together on an island with no choice but to cooperate or share life in isolation. The end, like and subscribe to stay updated.